What's up, guys? Welcome to the Almost Grown Up podcast. Kamil Azeem here. If you like what you see, be sure to leave a like, get involved in the comments, and be sure to subscribe. Hope you enjoy. Let's a clap. 3, 2, 1.
I think we don't need to both of us do it. I think we can probably skip that part. It only takes one impulse, right? Especially because we only got one mic.
Yeah, but then one's going to clap and the other one's going to be like... This is fun.
Yeah. I suppose to let you guys know, we're out of practice because it's been a while.
Yeah, like what, 3 months?
Yeah, basically the same amount. I think we worked this out the other day. The same amount of time that we've been out of lockdown, and now we're back in lockdown. so just want to clarify, this is not just a lockdown hobby, I guess. And also, we are allowed to be, I suppose lockdown 2 is a little bit more lenient, so we're allowed to be in the studio for business reasons. So I guess anyone wants to call us out in the comments. I'm sure we can blank that out because
great start. Profanity.
There you go. It's not like you didn't swear in the thing anyway. So
yeah, I'm also much taller than you. How's that happen?
I'm chilling.
That's good.
So I hope you like our new setup with our logo right here. I think I just put my hand in the way, but just ruined the illusion entirely.
God damn it.
But I think we're going to start trying to push the YouTube side of this a little bit more, so you guys kind of get to know us a bit better. One thing you would notice is that my hair has grown a lot more. It's classic lockdown.
My moustache has grown.
The lockdown. It is Movember too, so
totally.
fair play. I supported it like 2 years ago, and now I think I went so far in the extreme. Remember when it was blonde? And
I was going to say you dyed it, and you look like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I mean, like let's be fair. I didn't really look like him. I just looked like a very confused man. Like, am I?
I would have loved, because you obviously commuting on the tube at that time.
Yeah.
I would have been really funny just do this.
Oh, dude, the amount of looks I got as well.
Yeah, exactly.
This one time I wore like a black turtleneck, and then a black turtleneck, blonde handlebar moustache. Bear in mind I'm like my skin colour, so it kind of went like orangey by the end of it. I just looked like a porn director, and that's not me saying that. I got told that. So
you got told that?
I got told like
not by like a random member.
No, not like a random member of the public. No,
Excuse me, mate.
Do I know you? Yeah. Didn't you direct a movie for me? No, people I worked with at the time.
Cool.
But yeah, so since then I haven't really committed to Movember, but I'll give to charity.
Mine's not really that.
You got that thing where like you get the ginger beard, right? Even though you.
Well, and then when it gets to even longer, it just goes white. So I don't know how the fuck that happened. So I trim it.
So you white and ginger.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So I don't know how, my beard is all multicolored. So if I grow out a beard properly, not that I can, it'll just be like this bit.
I don't think you let it grow out long enough.
This will be ginger. This will be like white. It's like fucking multicolored all.
That'd be like
some weird hair disease.
Like a photo editor's nightmare. Like so many hairs, different colours in the same face.
Colour all of it. Yeah.
It's like your mate just got you to shave. So I guess the best thing to do is why don't we figure out what we've been up to, or let the viewers and listeners know what we've been up to. So the last podcast was what we did with Jerome.
That was in Wales.
The catch-up one, back in Wales.
Yeah, man.
Which we didn't film, unfortunately. But he has got a kid, so I suppose the setup would have been surrounded by kids' toys. Yeah. This is a little bit cooler.
And that was very, very makeshift, innit? That was kind of we literally just were at his house and we were like, fuck it.
Yeah, and hadn't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Wales, who are actually I think they were coming out of lockdown as we were going into it. Because I know that one of the girls I worked with, she was going to head to the pub, whilst all of us were going to sit there in our houses that Friday.
Was that they were going to have another?
Yeah, I think Wales had certain patches were at different tiers, I think.
Right.
So some of them could go to the pub, and some of them can. Obviously, it was still in groups of 4 or groups of 6, one of the two.
I got you.
But yeah, so I think end of this week it'll be 2 more weeks till we're out of lockdown, but I think it's going to get extended.
You think? I reckon with this new vaccine thing, I reckon they might kind of...
Yeah, I think it might be one of those things where they go back to the tiered system again. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. But what's lockdown consisted of for you? Because I know you've been doing the thing where you actually do something productive and retrain or learn a new skill and several new skills.
Yeah. I've just been fucking around in Photoshop basically. To just literally just fucking about making random images and just learning how to use it. The first time I opened it, I was like, "Fuck is this? How do you use it?" But Yeah, I've just been fucking about really. Just trying to keep busy.
I remember the first time I ever opened Photoshop. I think I must have been just like maybe like 12 years old or something. I think my sister might have had like a copy on her laptop. All I did was just blur shit.
Oh yeah,
blur out background, so like the things in the foreground.
Well, now it's literally just to the point where it just does most of the stuff for you. They have this thing called content aware, so you can kind of just highlight someone and boom, and then they're gone, and then it fills in the background. It kind of uses what is kind of, it's like AI. It's basically what it is.
Insane.
And it's like, well, it doesn't work all the time, but first time I did it, I was like, what the fuck? This is sick. But then when it doesn't work, you have to actually know what you're doing to then make it look like it worked. You know what I mean?
So I think you sent me a couple of pictures of your logo designs, which I don't know how good you are with Photoshop now. Cool.
Hang on, so that was
cool to
Photoshop.
have them pop up here.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen because they've not been done yet.
Now I want to see the works in progress.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
what, the basketball.
The basketball, which, to be fair, when I first said you disagreed with me, but I mean, look at it; it's pretty basketball-like, right?
I think it's just because of the colours.
Well,
They didn't quite get the colour of the bee. It was more just like black and orange.
Have we ever spoken about what your surname means?
Not on camera, but my surname. So my name, full name, I found this out one day. I was like,
You found out your full name one day?
No, it's in the meaning of it because I never just Google
you.
like, what does my name mean? So first name Kamil means perfect, obviously. Surname Bartnik, it means beekeeper. So I am the perfect beekeeper.
Yeah, so I guess when it comes to branding, it's just
that's it.
Done.
I need a bee. So one day I will get good enough and I can illustrate a graphic bee.
Fly around sucking off plants.
And we're back.
Hey. So yeah, I guess lockdown. What has it been? How long have we been in lockdown? Like 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, the most jarring thing for me, man, has just been back working from home again. I actually think this. So the way I approached it, I was like, okay, this lockdown will be easier because like I've been there, done that. I know what to expect.
Yeah.
But it's actually been harder because I think maybe because the weather's different, it's colder. There aren't as many daylight hours, and so when you finally finish work, whenever that is for me, it's already dark out, and you're like, now I have no time to do anything.
Yeah.
Because at least before you could go out and do a workout or go for a walk, but you've got such a concentrated amount of time to do everything, and you will be working in those hours, regardless, like 9 times out of 10. So I think that's probably played a part in being just like so much more difficult to adapt. Because even though you've been there, done that, it's still a new thing for this time of year.
Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of other people out there kind of have to do with the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I guess offices technically are allowed to be open because it's a place of work, but I think obviously like your office, they've just gone, we might as well just close doors for a month because...
That's the same thing with lots of gyms, because technically gyms I think can stay open, but I think the way the government has done it is like it's easier just for everyone to follow a blanket rule rather than have exceptions here and there.
Because then there'll be like loopholes and stuff.
Exactly. So I mean, like this for example, like how, let's say we weren't or already mates or had been doing this for a while. Let's say this was like a studio business that we ran. There'd be new clients coming in and out. How's that any different? You're not in
well, exactly. Yeah. So like studios are allowed to be open. So like when I'm obviously still doing like recording work and stuff.
Yeah.
I go to a studio and obviously I do it there. So yeah, it's definitely a lot looser. Probably just so that the economy doesn't completely fall apart again. But yeah, like obviously for the first lockdown we had to wait until it fully kind of was allowed before we did it, because the first 4 or 5 episodes were like on the phone, innit, and it was like weird kind of delay and stuff.
I guess the other changes have been like so firstly the podcast world has exploded because everyone and their next door neighbour has been like, look, let's start a podcast, us being one of them.
Even more so than in the first lockdown, because like you saw a big boom back then, and now people have kind of, the ones who've sort of had time to try it out, I've gone, oh, this is kind of sick, and we're going to keep doing it,
Yeah,
and also people have then gone, oh, cool, you should try it too. So it's just been like a growing thing.
Yeah, and this has sort of been translated in. So I obviously work in media, so we use a lot of like audio adverts. So there's this company that we use who sort of make bespoke scripts, so it can target people based on certain triggers. So let's say you're in a particular area, it'll have your geolocation, and an advert will come on in that accent or.
Mad.
Yeah, so there'll be like lots of like different versions of the same advert, so like little parts of the script that they'll re-record in certain voices. So essentially what it does is piece together like time of day, where you are, other things you listen to, so it'll be relevant to you. So this company used to be like, I mean they're fairly like commonly used in the industry anyway, but we went to use them, and their production costs have just gone through the roof because obviously business has been coming in so much more for them, so they've had to now start charging for certain things they previously didn't have to. So we're coming up with these like 11k production fees, and we're like, where the fuck did this come from?
What?
Yeah, and so they, I mean, I'm not going to name names, but like they like didn't really tell us.
Oh, they didn't inform any of their clients.
Yeah, well, we are their client. Our clients are our clients.
Right. Yeah.
So like the brands I work on are my clients, and then I am a client of this company because
Sure.
I'm essentially outsourcing to them.
Yeah.
And being like, write this script, and then obviously my client and them will speak to try and align like with brand regulations and or guidelines and that. So when it got to it, obviously we have to tell my brand what the production cost is, because usually they have like a non-working media budget, so there's money for the media by itself and then money for production and any other external costs that might be incurred. So then we're like, so what's the cost? And they're like, just let us know how much you're spending. So they base it off of like the amount of impressions you're serving, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So we tell them, they're like 11k, and we're like,
And how much was it before?
like 1 or 2.
What the fuck? I got it by 10.
Yeah,
tenfold.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose it does make sense because of the massive amount of hours in terms of project management. The voiceover actors, their fees must have gone up because of the amount of work that's coming in for them.
See, because typically, if demand is high, then the fee goes down, doesn't it? You think.
But if
it's a service, I think it's kind of a bit different, isn't it?
I guess, but then again, I think so because everyone's having to work from home, even the voice actors, they like they'll be in another country, and then they'll call them up and they'll have an email come through saying, oh, it's fine, so and so can record from home. They have recording equipment set up.
Yeah.
So I think the voice actors now are probably charging for the additional stuff of like doing it all themselves. Everyone's had to upskill.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
And sort of this is where sort of being like yourself in the industry is quite useful, because you're already like, yeah, fuck it, I'll learn it, I'll do it myself, and you're already more versatile.
I think my problem is that because I'm not already like established in the studio world, I still have to. I can't just be like, oh, lockdown, let's just put an extra 0 at the end of my fee. You know what I mean? Like I'm still kind of like, hire me.
Yeah.
But it's good, like,
but as in like it's not as big a jump for you to make because you're already in and around it, and you're so willing to just be like, I'll get my hands, like roll your sleeves
just
up
get
and
on
jump
with
in.
it. Yeah, totally.
Whereas I'm sure there have been some people who are like, I'm just X job and nothing else, because I have so many other people do it for me. They never expected a pandemic. Well, I mean, no one did. But that being said, for them it'll be a much bigger gap to bridge, because they'll have to learn it and be like, oh fuck, I'm not used to learning things.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get, as I've said many times before on this podcast alone, if you get comfortable being uncomfortable, it's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like the way I always say to my students as well, like nothing's difficult, it's just unfamiliar. You just got to spend like a bit of time kind of in that world. Like what I was talking about in Photoshop, I was like I was trying to do the simplest of tasks, it took me hours, and then I was like, oh it's just this, I've done it now. Now it just becomes like a one-click thing almost,
yeah, exactly.
And then you just kind of move on to the next thing, and then in a month you kind of realize, oh, I can do all this sort of shit. And then people go, how do you do that so quick? It's just taken me a month to learn.
When you were sending me the pictures of your band's like photos that you'd edited, and I was like, how the hell you just delete a whole subject out of the thing? And like, it's easy, not to me, because I'm familiar,
but
right?
it took me ages to do that. Like that picture
the first time
it was like 2-3 hours collectively, if not longer. And I was like, I'm trying to colour match stuff, and it was just, oh man, it was a bitch. But now I can kind of look at it and go, oh yeah, I need to do this because I've done it.
Yeah, rinse and repeat the process.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I guess now we're also edging into Christmas period too, so
which I kind of don't know what's sort of going to happen with that in terms of like the regular Christmas. Like,
so really I saw like there was someone sent me this post where it was like they allowed students from uni like a week's window or 2-week window where they can travel back home,
right?
And they did ask them to stagger it as much as they could, so it wouldn't be like a bottleneck of just traveling students. Like, good job guys.
Yeah.
Still fucked it up.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that they will allow Christmas to some degree. Maybe they'll like ease it off in the last week just to allow people to travel and be at home with their loved ones. But they also, in that same post, or in that same announcement, also said that all university lecturing will move to online. So that tells me it's either they're preparing just in case for an extension of a lockdown, or it's going to 100% be a lockdown. Because they're like, well, just go home, be with your families. Because obviously students are going to be like, we have no money. We're already not really.
Yeah, see, I'm still struggling to kind of get my head around the whole like vaccine thing. Because they have like a few.
Yeah.
But and they're like, you know, saying it's X amount percent effective or whatever. But
I saw 95% with the I can't pronounce it.
But it's like vaccines don't just take months to make; they take years. Do you know what I mean? Like, so this would have had to been adapted from some other vaccine, like another strand of SARS, modified to kind of work for it. And they're sort of saying there's no short-term side effects, but who knows
they said,
what the actual potential side effects. There's not been conclusive.
Are you allowed to just decline? No, I'm still healthy.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, sweet, cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait like a while.
Yeah, you can't just like forcibly inject you with stuff. Like, I mean, you could technically just reject the measles, mumps, and whatever the other one is injection. You could say, I don't want to take it. Stupid, obviously take it, but that's
been around for a while.
Yeah, exactly, for fucking decades.
Yeah, look at me, I'm normal.
And it works. Just third arm, just go there. But no, technically, like it's not anti-vaccine. It's kind of just I don't sort of trust it yet. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I saw this post that was like, we should let all the politicians try the vaccine first. If they still survive, and if they do it, then yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, but it's also, you know, the vulnerable in that. Yeah, obviously prioritize them. Like, I don't feel like I need it. Even if it was available, I'd rather that go to someone. Say if it does work 100%, I'd rather that go to someone who obviously does need it. Because I mean,
yeah, we're pretty young and healthy, so it's fine.
Yeah, and I'm pretty certain I've had it as well. And it was like
you lost your taste and smell.
And that was right at the beginning of the first lockdown. And I just kind of
should have gotten into cheese then.
What?
You should have gotten into cheese.
Because then the taste comes back.
I just for that one.
Yeah. It was weird though, not having taste. I kind of liked it. Yeah, because I was just eating healthy was like really easy. It was just like, oh, it was just the same.
Yeah, but you just get the texture of the food, so that way.
Yeah, it was just like. Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
That's weirder though.
What do you mean?
Like, because then, let's say a bowl of oats. Do you like porridge? Or like a bowl of oats?
It's not my preferred breakfast.
But you don't mind it, right?
Yeah. So yeah. It's just like.
So that has the same consistency as like snot. Yeah. So then, without smell or taste, in theory, that would be the same thing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't picture like I'm eating snot as I'm eating a bowl of porridge.
Yeah, but
I know what it is.
It leaves that option open though to your brain.
I don't know.
Because you'll still have that like trigger in your. Not that I've ever eaten snot. Just saying.
But the like, other yeah.
But like, you know, when you're super ill and you have that like that feeling in your mouth. This is a very specific situation.
Yeah,
moving
kind
on.
of, yeah.
But other things that are happening in Christmas. Everyone's come out with the Christmas adverts. The John Lewis one has come out.
That was pretty shit though. The John Lewis one. The McDonald's one is the best one.
Do you know what? I've actually actively. So I work in media and I make an active decision just to skip it and avoid it. I do not care.
Yeah.
I hate adverts.
The only reason I watch it, I have seen it. Sorry, is because my girlfriend like has seen it, and we just there when she was watching it.
Yeah.
And also the McDonald's one, my mate. Shout outs to Adam Rust if you're listening. He played piano in
nice.
in the McDonald's advert.
I really hope that didn't clip.
and that's how I found out about it. Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who this guy is, but
as my girlfriend was watching it, like she started tearing up. I was like, "Why are you crying? It's an advert." She's like, "It's sad." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
I think it's quite interesting the take that brands have like gone for this year, like because the John Lewis one, they tried to give you something to smile about because I think every brand's aware that it's been such a weird year for everyone. So rather than focus on we can't have a normal Christmas, it's like here is something to smile about. Which is
I don't think you should kind of change too much. Like just almost treat it as normal. Like you just kind of
because I think that's
the other thing that pisses me off.
The TH for the F.
Oh yeah.
Or vice versa.
Think, yeah. Something. No, something. There's a G at the end. It's not the, it's f.
But
anyway,
I forgot what I was saying entirely. Yes. You like stop rolls.
The adverts, how they've
I think the bigger deal that you make out of it, the worse it gets. It's like, you know, when a kid falls over and you're like, no.
Yeah.
But like, no, just laugh it off, get up, run.
Fall again.
The kid's arms just falling off.
You're like, fine. Have a good day at school.
Walk it off. It's like, I'm bleeding out.
Fucking limping.
Yeah.
All on the floor.
But yeah, I guess another thing that's come up is the people of colour, because coloured is a derogatory racist term, apparently. I did not know this until about...
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know how long this podcast started for. Started ago. So the people of colour thing has been a big point of contention, because I think there's the Sainsbury's ad in particular, which I don't really care. I sort of think it's a bit funny how people make a big deal out of it. But I'm going to read out some of the Twitter responses.
Everyone probably knows like what.
Yeah, but I think it's funnier when you hear it from
a person
of colour.
Can't say that.
Yeah. So they released it on the 14th of November. So this is not even that long ago. That's 5 days ago.
Yeah.
It's titled Gravy Song. So here's some responses on Twitter from the advert. Where are the British people? What fresh hell is this?
Fucking
That's one. And then another one goes, I'm dreaming of a, in capitals, white Christmas.
That's the one that got me.
And then another one goes, another reason to boycott Sainsbury's. I wonder what the other reasons were.
But it kind of almost...
Jamie Oliver? He's white.
It kind of... Like, I don't know whether this highlights the demographic of Sainsbury's, as in, like, their customer base, or it's just, like, the select few idiots. Like,
but this is it would have been a mass awareness thing, so it's not like it was targeted to people who are the customer base. This is just the general population. Do you know what I mean? So this is just those who are who this has rubbed up the wrong way enough for them to go onto Twitter and be like, what the fuck?
But you'll get that.
But the other thing that's worrying is that this is the amount of people that are actually vocal about it. So who else thinks this but doesn't actually go and say it? You know? And this kind of ties into the current, I don't want to get super into politics, but like what Donald Trump did, the sort of like political strongman who wasn't a politician, he's a businessman, and he sold himself as going to do all these things that politicians wouldn't do. And in doing that, his followers essentially said, you've now validated my way of thinking to create that divide. And essentially he's allowed people to think it's okay to voice their racist opinions. And then people on the far right will be like, well, it's freedom of speech. It's like, yes, but freedom of speech works as long as it's not at the detriment of someone else. So like extreme leftists are equally as wrong to do that.
Yeah.
But as soon as your freedom of speech is at the detriment of someone else, then I think that's when it's wrong. This is quite funny. You may as well rename yourself Blackberries. I thought that was quite clever.
Wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong, but it's like, at least this is kind of witty.
It's just like...
This is my favourite. Christmas in Nigeria. So bearing in mind, so we grew up in a really, really mixed school.
Oh, yeah.
Like ethnically speaking.
And the boys' school as well.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the sort of banter that sort of like flew around anyway. So I think back to that and I kind of find this a bit funny because obviously I'm a person of colour and I'm like, it was what it was. But then the problem is these are grown adults, and that's what I said when I shared this post as well on my Instagram. Was that?
Well, you assume they're grown adults. I'm guessing.
That's. I
don't think teenagers would kind of.
I think especially
have those
the younger
opinions
generations
to really kind of be like saying that sort of stuff seriously.
Someone's also gone absolutely sickening because you've seen a person of colour.
Yeah, that's just flat out like, well, that's a racist. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think it's.
But it's
just
like
interesting.
So going back to what you said about Trump and that.
Yeah.
Kind of what it was on TV, but I think it was like an advert for like a documentary, and there's this clip of this black guy. He was saying, sort of almost like, "Thank you, Donald Trump, for highlighting just how racist America is." Because in a sense, you need that to kind of realise, okay, this country's fucked, and obviously like UK is pretty much just equally as racist as America and other countries as well. But to kind of have that in a sense highlighted is like a starting point, because then you can kind of realise, okay, just how bad it is, and then you can actively try and fix it sort of from the inside out as well. And just kind of force that whole like you're wrong kind of agenda on them, because they are wrong, like, let's be honest.
I guess, but the other thing is I feel like it sort of goes back and forth, like from president to president, because let's say we go back to some, like as far back as like Obama, or like there was a certain sect of people who were like, I don't want a black president or anything like that. But they would never be vocal enough about it.
Yeah.
Now Donald Trump has validated that, so they are vocal about it and has made people rise up and be like, no, I stand up for what's right. And they've said no, and then eventually it's going to go back to Joe Biden, where all those people who had those thoughts will be like, oh, we can't say that anymore, so I'll dial back down.
Yeah.
But that feeling will still stay there.
Yeah, I just kind of hope that through all of this sort of highlighted racism, I've kind of almost hoped that those who may have had those thoughts and have kind of just sort of thought kind of those racist things, sort of look at what's sort of happening in that extreme view and kind of go, hang on, this is wrong. Do you know what I mean? It kind of might change their opinion on stuff.
Maybe.
I think like the extremist viewpoint will always kind of stay the same. It's very hard to change their opinions, but those who are, and I think the majority of people who are sort of saying these comments are in that weird kind of middle where they just don't quite know who they are, and they quite don't know where they fit in. So they're just kind of saying this stuff to sort of have like a place to belong in.
That's so accurate.
Yeah, and then it's like they might just sort of see exactly what's going on and be like, okay, this is wrong. I can see that it's wrong.
Yeah, but I suppose one of the things that has changed massively since we did the last podcast is that Donald Trump has now lost the election.
Yeah,
so the new president-elect is Joe Biden.
Well, so hang on. So what does that mean? Because I was reading so he's a president-elect, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be the next president, right? They have to still vote on it. Is that right?
Yeah. So the electoral colleges can overturn the vote,
which I don't think has ever happened, right?
It's never happened, but in theory, yes, they can. But it's never happened, and I think that was Donald Trump's last Hail Mary to sort of pack those the electoral colleges with his people.
Yeah.
But I think it's very unlikely for it to happen, and there's only a couple of weeks left of his presidency anyway.
Oh, is it January something, isn't it? It's January.
Yeah. So a handful of weeks.
Months and a bit, yeah.
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks.
Such a sore loser though. He's like, recount. I want all the counting to stop. So hang on, what? No.
But the other thing is, he doesn't understand how that works, because he was saying the counting should stop in the states where he's already losing, and it's like, if it stops there, you still lose. You need it to go on for it to.
He's like, please don't make it this bad. It's just.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think he's the only president to have lost the popular vote twice in a row, because he lost the popular vote as in pure numbers of votes from when he won in 2016 as well.
Oh, legit?
Yeah, because he just won more states.
Oh, see, he kind of just won almost kind of by the skin of his teeth for the first.
It's first past the post. Well, because he still won the most electoral.
Right.
Votes,
see,
So it's, but in terms of the actual individuals that voted for him, he actually lost that. So the popular vote means individual people.
See, I feel like that should be the deciding
everyone
factor.
Says that, but look at how big America is. So it's, I think Trevor Noah put it as 50 countries masquerading as one.
Yeah.
So there's no way that would work. Yeah. I'm not saying there's a I don't know until you try it, but I think by dividing up and having a certain amount of seats per state makes the most sense, the same way we do it here. I think here that probably could work because it's a smaller country, but yeah.
But then obviously the larger states have more pull because they have more.
But they also generally have bigger cities, for example. So they'll have counties within the states as well.
I don't even want to get into this. I'm confused already.
It's huge, yeah. It's ridiculous. That's why there were certain points where obviously there was a much higher number of mail-in voting this year because of coronavirus.
Yeah.
People are,
It's been a delayed count.
Yeah, exactly. I think the count's still going up now.
Oh, they're still actively counting?
Yeah.
Right.
So some states haven't. Some states are done, closed. This is officially a democratic state.
Uh-huh.
But others are still counting. But Biden's looking to win by 306 to 214 was the last time I checked to Trump's.
So essentially kind of extending his lead.
Yeah, exactly, because essentially the ones that were more likely to go in and vote on at the polling station were the ones who were taught by the media that coronavirus isn't as big a thing, weren't wearing masks, who were mostly Trump supporters. Now that means that a majority of mail-in ballots were Democratic ones.
Right.
So that's why the whole stop the vote thing was a chant that was incited by Donald Trump to be well, if we get rid of those mail-in ballots, then. But again, maybe there's a Republican that's watching this to maybe give me your side of the story. But I think this comes down to, have you seen this show on Netflix called The Social Dilemma.
No, I've heard of it, but I've not seen it.
Yeah, it's I'd recommend it because it just gets you into the awareness of. Have we just lost?
No, we're good.
No, yeah. That never happened.
We're back.
What was I saying? Yeah, so it basically highlights the sort of algorithm nature of social media because all the platforms' number one job is to keep you on there, right? So that's why the algorithm sets you up stuff like, here's the next video, here's the next video, so you get into the YouTube hole, for example. But what that creates is a sort of echo chamber of the same viewpoints again and again and again.
Good point.
So for the average person who's, I wouldn't say unaware because that's maybe insulting their intelligence, but who's just sort of complicit and not really trying to go for another type of viewpoint, they'll basically end up in an echo chamber, and when that happens, you don't get another standpoint. So then you'll never be able to hold an argument with someone because you won't understand what they're trying to say. You'll just try and beat them down with what you keep trying to pump into them.
Which is the main problem nowadays,
yeah, exactly.
Really, is a lack of understanding of...
Because this is where internet culture kind of comes from, because you have those militant people and it's like, but you're not understanding where they're coming from. Take a step back, listen to them. So that's why I always try and make an active decision to follow conservative or Republican viewpoints, even though it's a bit jarring to listen to them at times. It's good for you to understand where, let's say I was to get into an argument, provided that person was going to be open and listen to me, it stands you in good stead to counter them.
I do also, in a sense, feel like I'm obviously all for everyone being open-minded and kind of being able to see as best as they can other people's viewpoints. But I do kind of, to a certain point, feel like that can't really happen because it's just humans, right? When you grow up in school, whatever, you have a certain kind of group who you gravitate towards. You're either like the grunger,
the jock, the musician.
Exactly, yeah. But that's kind of just like a natural social thing, anyways. And yeah, it's on social media or just platforms, or just the internet. But that still happens, and the fact that still happens digitally just goes to show how we are as humans, and that you can't, as much as you'd want that openness to be there. Yeah, I think there is going to be an outweighing factor, just saying okay, no, I can kind of see where you're coming from, but I still.
It's like that cult culture.
I'm kind of rooted, like 1 foot really heavy in this.
But then that comes back to what you were saying earlier about needing somewhere to belong. Are those people so desperate for something to cling on to as their identity, their ideology?
I feel
yeah. So, but equally, there are people who can separate themselves from that and be happy to be wrong. Because actually, me and Mike, who I want to get on the podcast soon, we were talking about this because people become. I think we even spoke about it with Jerome. That when you're intrinsically linked to your argument, so much so that if someone has a good point, you'll almost switch off to it because you're like,
you can't see
fuck,
it.
now I'm going to lose face in this argument, or I'm going to give them the high ground. It's okay to be wrong. Step back and be like, I have been wrong.
But I don't think
there are many people who think that way.
Yeah, it's hard to,
especially when it's politics.
It's hard, yeah, or something you fully believe in, and to sort of be like, oh no, here's what I believe, blah blah blah. It's that kind of age-old discussion between scientists and religious people.
Yeah.
But it's they're so rooted in what they believe. I obviously I'm on one side, and it's it's very hard to just then convince the other one because that's your life, isn't it? To then suddenly be your whole belief system, everything you kind of know about, research is just
very hard,
wrong.
It's very hard to reprogram a mind that's past a certain age, or sort of thing, because like you said,
you get to a point where it affects you mentally because you're like, fuck, who am I? What
everything
am I doing?
I've known
is wrong.
Yeah, which I get, which is why people, when they say, so I've had a lot of pushback on this because I'm actually one of the people that say, well, if an old person is racist or they'll say racist things, I can't really it's wrong, but I'm not going to contest it because it's what that's the world they grew up in.
Yeah.
How do you want me to? Do you think they're going to listen to me? Someone who they view as you're a baby in this world, you've been here for 1 second worth of my life.
Yeah.
What do I care about? Why do I think you're gonna change the way I speak or the way I look at things? I know it's wrong, so let's talk about say transphobia or homophobia or something even as simple as that. Well, not to simplify the problem, but as something as common as that rather.
Yeah. Common nowadays as well. Right.
Yeah, because they're gonna be faced with this new topic which they don't know how to approach. They'll just talk about it in the most crude, blunt way they can, whereas there are now with our generation more nuances and grey areas. We have to sort of tiptoe around certain subjects, which is, it's not ideal, but it's just the way it is. Like, you have to, like the whole pronoun thing, remember we spoke about that before, about whether you call someone him or her, it can offend someone, and I was like,
no,
that's quite difficult.
Yeah,
that's. And I can't remember who it was, where they put it a really interesting way. I think it might have been Jordan Peterson, who is a pseudo right-wing journalist and like lecturer at some uni in Canada. He said, I think he might have said, to what degree do I have to partake in your ego, that I have to change the way I speak? Which I get, but then it comes back down to the thing we were talking about before we started recording, was like, what do people take offence to? And it's literally everything.
But yeah, I mean, as much as I'm very much like, just like, what's the problem? Like, let it just be that,
Yeah.
At the same time, you can kind of go back in history and look at obviously like really offensive words.
Yeah.
That are now like, you can't say that. As time goes on, we evolve. Language evolves to make it more, I guess. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, just it more fitting or more normalized. Yeah. So it's not so like, we filter out all the shit, or we sort of adapt it to actually make sense for the modern world. Because then that's almost the same as having old school beliefs. It's the same sort of thing, like it's like old school language. We don't speak like ye old kind of stuff. Like, we don't say that anymore because language is, in a sense, simplified and adapted, I guess. So you can kind of, do you see what I mean? Like, you can kind of see the correlation between language being old-fashioned and what you say and how you say and
the way it's perceived.
And yeah, like in 100 years, what we say now might be deemed wrong because of such and such social changes or political changes or whatever that have kind of happened.
Yeah, I think we're changing faster than ever now because everyone has what they think is a ground to stand on.
There are a lot more bubbles, back in, probably through the internet as well. Everyone's kind of having their own like micro societies as well. Like,
that's so true. Because and they get these cult cultures because they have that echo chamber within that.
Yeah, and because the media don't have so much control anymore. Like back in ages ago, it was like when there was no TV, there was no real like newspapers. Like 1800s or whatever. Like your people or like what the government told you was like that was it. You were like obedient to the law. Whereas now, people are a lot smarter. There's a lot more information available. So you can kind of make your own mind up a bit more, and within that you have tiny little nuances of I believe this, but little thing, and then you go down a little kind of filter channel,
which is the thing that always kind of comes to my mind when I'm looking at people that I follow or I look up to or am inspired by, is I try not to think about whether they are left or right, because I think if someone was to ask me, I'd say I wouldn't want to say I'm one or the other, because the second you do, you're immediately shunned by the other side. And the other thing is, you can quite easily have certain right beliefs and certain left beliefs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm very much like under the belief that like politics should just be like, it's just a personal thing. Like, yeah, it's good to talk about it, but if somebody asks you, are you left or right? It's like, what does it matter? I'm me. Can we just have a beer and chat?
Yeah, I don't think I think that's so true. Everyone hates it gets very touchy.
Unless you're like super far one way or the other, where like everything you talk about is extreme to one point, then it becomes quite obvious and quite apparent who you are. Yeah, and it's like, and then you kind of go, right, okay, I don't want to be friends with that person. Because it's like, well, then you're just not a normal human being,
I'm not your boy, man.
Exactly. Like, just fucking believe what you want to believe. Just don't be fucking shouting about it all the time.
That's the other thing.
It's the same with religion. Like, be religious if you want.
People will believe what they want to believe at the end of it anyway. You can form as logical an argument as you want, structure it in the best way you possibly could for that person, and it still comes down to them about whether they're going to believe it or not. Yeah. Like, there are very intelligent religious people who have been taught the science of it. They know the science of it, but they still want to believe that because it gives them something to hold on to.
Which is nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
if you still go and shout about it.
Yeah.
I think it just comes down to humans, like, we just want to be right about stuff. So whatever we believe in, we like want to be right about it. So we try to convince people to just be like, oh no, I'm right. Like, I've done all my research, believe me, trust me.
It does feel fucking good though, right?
Well, yeah, but when you're actually right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when it's like mathematically like There's no wrong.
There's
This is
empirical evidence that I am right.
Yeah.
2 plus 2 is 4.
Feels good.
Eat it. That's the other thing. People love to rub it in their face as well.
Yeah.
But
It's a little smugness that kind of comes out.
yeah, it's a pretty heavy podcast so far.
I was going to say...
The second we talk about politics, it just goes...
Yeah. I feel like we'll end this one. This will be the serious one, the first one back. And then the next one we'll keep a bit more
Oh no, it's going to come now.
Wait, what?
What's going to come
Oh,
now?
it's going to come now.
Oh no, I'm going to come now. Just so you know, I never say oh no before that happens. I'm like, yeah!
Oh no, I know.
I also didn't shout about it. Oh.
On that note,
No, no.
we hope you've enjoyed the
Political chat with a creamy little cherry on top.
There you go. First one back, we'll kind of get into the groove of it. Yeah.
We'll find our
Peace.
rhythm.
See you next time.